Everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to have Kris Miller here, who's going to be sharing how to create income that we will never outlive. This is such an important topic. And we're still waiting for a few more people to join us. But in the meantime, I'm going to have Kris share a little bit of information about her and her company with you. So join us. Hello, Kris. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us.
Hi. Thank you for having me. What a privilege. I really appreciate it for sure. Absolutely. Well, I've been doing this for 36 years. It shocks me every time I say it, Linda, right? And and I'll have a little intro in the formal slide deck, but I think there's something to experience because there's all that I've learned is not from books. It's actually helping over 6,000 people and businesses and companies. And when you're inside of people's portfolios, which is their lives and their energy, that it's a different story. It's not something you really learn at school. So, and everybody's different. Everybody's got different combinations of what their goals are, what they want, what they have, what they don't have. So it's really been an amazing journey. And what I've learned is how to protect people's assets. So I get to say a lot that I've never lost one dime at any market risk. And people look at me, oh, yeah, sure. What? But it's true. And I'm not like throwing darts at stocks. I literally have products that I've used myself. So I own what I sell, and I've never lost one dime in any market risk. So there's strategies, and I'm what's called a legacy wealth strategist. So I'm not like a financial planner, which gives you a checklist. Do that, do this, do that. I look at what you have, where it is, how it's positioned, what goals you have, because at each age, believe it or not, there's something different you have to do. I mean, when you're 20, you can't imagine what it's like when you're 30 or 40. When you're 40, what happens when you're 60, let alone 80 and plan for 100? Seriously, that's just how you have to think about it. And each age has its own thing. So that's the blessing of doing this so long and having such experience, because I wouldn't have ever known. And then plus a lot of family experience too has really shifted me into a new mindset on how to connect with people, because the money conversation for most people is scary. It's horrible. They don't want to talk about it. And I see the synergy between health and wealth. Okay? People don't want to diet. People don't want to save. And so there's a transformation that happens when you understand how things work. So to me, education is a big deal, right? Financial wellness. I've created a financial wellness program. Later, Linda and I will talk about, but this is really about making sure that you know all of the things that are out there so that you can actually make the best decision for yourself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this into the slide format here, presentation view, and then share my screen. Um, if I can find
Go
all of
right
this.
ahead, Kris.
Okay, I gotta just find the little button. I should have shared the screen before I did that, so hold on.
No worries.
Okay,
Should be right on the bottom in the middle.
bottom in the middle. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to that, and then I'm
Here
gonna
we
go.
go. I see it popping up.
Okay,
Perfect.
and then I'm gonna go to the slide deck and start presenter view. There.
Perfect.
Okay. You see that?
Yes, everything is perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Well, around year 25, as I was telling you, I've been in practice for over 35 years. I'm a legacy wealth strategist. I show people how to protect their assets from catastrophic illness, long term care nursing home costs, probate, conservatorship, guardianship, and the Great Depression. So it's really three things: right? Making sure that you have those things. We're going to deep dive into those three, and we're also going to deep dive into some other topics that will come forth from that. But it's really important for you and me to understand how all these things work. So it was around year 25, I'd say, when I started to realize that most people, now I'm just going to try to change the slide here, they don't understand money. And so why? There's no judgment. It's not bad on you. You go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school, what do? Go make money and give it to some guy to gamble. And that's really all people know. The stock market, it is a casino. And there are other things out there that are safer. And so you have to have a balance of it all. It's not a one size fits all. But I wanted to see if I could play this. This is a great video, and why people are jumping on, because most people are always late. Well, listen to this. Well, let's go. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. There. And what if you could create income you'll never outlive? And that's the whole deal. That's what we're talking about, is the protection, multiplying our wealth. It's just like planting seeds and knowing the best place to plant them, right? So, as I was saying before, and I don't say this as a brag, but after 36 years, I've protected over $2.5 billion in what I do, and it's the value of that is worth more than the $1 billion. Helping the people, to me, is the fruit of the joy that I get helping people. So basically, that's why I enjoy working retired and being able to help people have the same kind of a lifestyle and protect their assets. So there's kind of a neat story. When I first started, I was a paralegal. I was working with an attorney, and we were at a senior center, and there was a widow, and all she had was a car and a house and no money. I'm talking about 1992. And the living trust, they were charging $5,000. And she didn't have any money. And so she left the room, and I looked at the attorney and said, "Hey, could you give her a deal?" He looked at me like I was nuts. And that's what started my business. I decided, you know what? I'm going to make it easy for people to get living trust. And look, we are the ones that do all the work. He got all the money. And that was a trend that was happening in the 90s. A lot of paralegals became independent. The state bar came in and gave us a designation. So I'm what's called an LDA. I'm a legal document assistant. I'm authorized and licensed and have a picture ID with the state bar to prepare documents. So we've created literally over 6,000 living trusts. And during this time, this is where this all developed because, well, as you can imagine, I took that $5,000 living trust. I sold it for $199. Same trust. And boy, did my office fill up. And as a result of that, I was helping hundreds of people. And then, I don't know, a year or two down the road, I was noticing this pattern. And the pattern was that people were coming into my office. They're starting their retirement plan at 50, 60, 70. Like, what is wrong here? Oh, nobody is being taught. So I realized there's a lot different than the checklist. A plan is not a strategy. A strategy is flexible. A strategy has the 911 bag packed. It looks for all the different holes in the boat so you can get to the other side. And the protection of assets, a big deal to me is making sure your assets are safe and protecting them from market risk so they're going to last you as long as you live, right? So, the saving, the investing, the planning, all of those things are what we talk about. But what I like to do is have it in a healthy, happy way that's empowering for people. And as you really can realize, the biggest wealth destroyers, taxes. Aren't we paying enough here in California? And I don't know where all of you are coming in from, but definitely we're all paying taxes, right? Medical costs, it's crazy how much, and this is what I've seen, so much that people end up losing lots of their assets during the medical challenge. And then, of course, market crashes and all those great things. So essentially, we're talking about protection of assets. That's the whole thing. And so what I like to do is give you guys all the education and talk about how we can make financial fitness strategy sessions together and create a safe money formula. And so one of the big things when you get in your third and fourth quarter is you're going to want income, because once you stop working, some people may never stop working and might have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to keep things going. That's okay. But you need to figure out how to take what you have and create income you'll never outlive to reduce the taxes and then protect your assets, and then make sure those assets are wrapped in legal protection. Make sure you have your living trust. And Linda is the genius with real estate, and I've been to a lot of real estate events. She has the best, by the way. But what shocks me is when I do go to different agent events, nobody has their living trust, and they're selling houses. And it isn't just the end of the life document, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's just so important for you to have. And why does it matter? Because you can get sued, right? You want to make sure your life estate is not lost in court battles and all these ways that things are set up. So I like to do what's called financial fitness strategy sessions with people. And basically, what that is I'll share with you what I've learned. And I ask your age, your health, your wealth. And then I make recommendations, and we have a class. I literally will teach you a class, and we'll deep dive into that a little bit later, because I really want to get into the content of really what you need to pay attention to. One is the tax-free income. And I didn't find out till I was 58, and I was pretty upset. I'm in the industry, but a lot of these things are hidden from people that you have to do deep dives to find it. They really wanted me to sell stocks. They wanted me, you know what? And I couldn't do it, especially I hate losing money. And I couldn't look you in the eyes and say, hey, you really need to buy this stock, but I don't want it. So I couldn't do that. So I took time off, literally, to deep dive and find out about safe money for me and my clients, because I did not want to lose any more money. And what I found and discovered were places where you could put your money with no market risk, eliminate taxes or tax deferred growth, and create income you'll never outlive. And it's pretty crazy. I know you know it when you get your tax, refund back or no refund, how much taxes we're being clobbered with. And so it's really, really essential so you learn about that. Now, as I was telling you, as I first started, I started with a living trust. So basically, the living trust is a legal document that's created to own, manage your estate. It protects you from probate. What's probate? Probate's courts. What do courts take? Attorneys. And what do attorneys take? I heard you. Money, right? 5 to 25% of the total estate to take what you have to go through court if nobody contests it. If somebody contests it, you could be in there from 3 to 5 years, and usually the attorney will get 2/3 of it. It's a very sad story, and I know a lot about it personally and from a lot of clients that I've had after the fact. So this is why this is important. So the living trust keeps you out of the court system. You know what's so beautiful about this? And these have been around since the Middle Ages. They're not a new thing. It allows you to give what you have directly to your family with no middleman. You don't need me. You don't need courts. You don't need attorneys. It goes from you to them. And that is the sweetest thing because there's nobody in there trying to get more money out of there. It goes directly to them. And that is really how you create your continuous legacy or your family office or just helping the kids out. It's a wonderful thing. So they protect your assets, they avoid probate, but they also have other beneficial things inside of them that allow you to have what I call protection while you are alive. Remember the pandemic? How many people actually got their power of attorney for health care after the pandemic? I mean, most people didn't even have it. So there's a power of attorney for financial and there's a power of attorney for health care inside the living trust. The living trust is a binder full of documents, and it has documents that you need while you are alive. Look, if I break my leg skiing, I'm going to want someone to keep my business going while I recover. And you know what? It's very, very comforting to know that's all set up ahead of time. It gives you what I call an estate of mind, really, peace of mind when you know your affairs are in order. So when you get the living trust, you're going to put all the assets in the trust, all your real estate, all your investments, they all go in the living trust. If you have an LLC or an S Corp, then you have a note that assigns that, and the trust is the owner. And that's another thing that I run into a lot of people is their documents are separated. They may have a living trust, but they don't have the note that assigns the LLC with all their real estate into the trust. And there's a lot of little holes in the boat if you are partnering with people in real estate. You have other people on your deeds, and what if they don't have all of these things in place and they pass away before you do? Then you have a mess that you didn't even buy into, you didn't even sign up for, put it that way. So it's really, really important to understand how the living trust works and how they control the distribution of your estate. And we've like I said, I've made over 6,000, stop counting, but it gets creative where you can literally set it up for, sometimes you have kids that are like on drugs or alcohol. You can customize that trust and say this money doesn't go until you're drug free and gainfully employed for 5 years. So there's some very creative planning that you can do. Now, you know what's shocking? Check this out. Look at this picture, right? These folks did not have a living trust. Now you would imagine, right, with their notability, right? There's Prince, right? Aretha Franklin, no trust. Martin Luther King, no trust. Michael Jackson had a trust, but it wasn't finished. And, they're going to be in court for years. John Wayne's estate is still in probate. Seriously. All the royalties, right? It's still in probate. You don't want to be in that system. You want you to be completely void of having any of those problems. So depending on your financial situation, there are special trusts too that avoid estate tax. It's 18 million right now, and it goes up and goes down, and depending on which president is there, if it'll be there or not. So again, as you set your living trust up, and those of you that have a living trust, you want to make sure all the assets are in the name of the trust. I can't tell you how many people I've seen, they get a living trust and then just put it in their drawer. And they forget to put the assets in. Usually, they're not explained how to fund their trust. It's kind of like a trust mill where they just give them the trust. And And people really don't know. For example, with your power of attorney for financial, you want to make sure that the bank has that because the banks have their own power of attorney signature card. That's one you probably didn't know. So you want to make sure that those powers of attorney sign the power of attorney at the bank or wherever your money is. Healthcare. Make sure your doctor has your healthcare ahead of time. And that way your powers of attorney aren't running around looking for things. So the what I call one of the next three secrets basically is protection of assets from catastrophic illness. Very hard one for me. I've gotten to the point where control the tears, but essentially my family's been my nightmare in my own family. My mommy, she had cancer for 10 years, and no one would know she had it. She just kept working and kept wanting to live and, did everything that the doctors told her. But essentially, these costs for long-term care, 7 out of 10 of us are going to need it. I know, it's a gross picture, but that's really what it does. It sucks the life out of your assets. Because what? When you go into a catastrophic situation, you need doctors, you need drugs, you need someone to help take care of you, you need a place to stay. In the nursing homes, well, they're going to be anywhere from $7,000 to $25,000 a month. Okay? So my sweet mommy, she came up to me and she had this paper in her hand and she said, "Honey," I'm looking at her, she's starting to cry. And I go, "What, Mom?" She says, "You could share this with your clients." And I looked down at it, and it was a bill from Stanford Hospital. Guess how much it was? 5 days of chemo, $90,000. 5 days of chemo for 12 months. Do the math. $1 million is not a lot of money. And thank God, my dad was very successful. He went to Caltech. Einstein was one of his teachers. He was very blessed and he did very well and he had the money. But literally, he came up to me and said, "Honey, you're going to inherit $1 million." And I said, "Dad, I just want you." I never counted on their money, really, seriously. A few years later, he said, "Honey, you might get something." And that's what happened. Thank God they had all that money to take care of my sweet mommy and stay at home. And that's what I show my clients how to do is stay at home. You really don't want to go to a nursing home. The life expectancy is shorter. It's better to be at home if you can, but sometimes you need to go to a nursing home. You need therapies or different kind of infusions or things, so it's okay. But if you can stay at your home, this is how we design things. So you have both options. And there's a song, "Expect the Unexpected." You want to expect the unexpected. Doesn't mean you have to walk around in gloom and doom, but think everything out and make sure you have all of these things covered. So not all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, I don't have catastrophic illness protection. Now I got to go spend my own money or sell a piece of real estate. And you can't do that. You can't get sick and then, I think I'm going to sell some real estate and wait. You got to have that money right there at that time. Seriously. Again, look at this. 3 out of 100 have fire in their homes. How many of you have fire insurance? Hello. It's law in California. 18 out of 100 will have a car accident. Everybody's got insurance. And 7 out of 10 will need long-term care. And again, those costs are crazy. And my mom's cost for long-term care in 2010 was $15,000 a month. Trying to hello. It's, you can go through your whole estate real fast that way. So there's also the paradox of longevity. Who would ever think? You got to plan to 100. They're inventing all kinds of new things. There are cures for cancer. They just haven't come out in this country yet, but they are there. That's another story. There are safe places where you can grow your money without market risk. but they're been secret. Why are they secret? Nobody talks about them because it's you make more money. I'd make more money selling stocks, telling you, but I wouldn't have the same integrity with my own self. Not saying that stockbrokers don't have integrity. I'm talking about how I want to be. I want to be safe. I want my money to be there, and I want to make sure that I will have this income that I'll never outlive. Now, inside of these things, and like I say, I work with business owners, investors, and retirees, all ages. But I'm always trying to remind everybody to make sure that you're prepared. I mean, you go on vacation and then we have a storm or something. That's life, and that's how it works. We don't know what's going to happen. But essentially, this is going to be in the legal world too. I mean, look at 19 states as of, this is probably an old stat by now, including California, New York, Pennsylvania. They're including taxing people if you don't have long-term care insurance. Why? Because they're broke, right? The Medicare system is being rung right now, and you're really not covered with Medicare. Medicare covers 20 days. That's it. All that money you put in there, you get free 20 days. Then you co-pay with Medicare. You co-pay 80%. 80 days. And then after 100 days, you're on your own. That's right. That comes out of your pocket. So you got to have it figured out. You got to have what's going to happen if that happens to you. It's 7 out of 10 of us. So it's very important to take the time to really understand this. And this is my gift. My company is Healthy Money, Happy Life. I like the conversation to be up and healthy and happy, so you get empowered to do these things and your money is safe and secure. As I told you earlier, and we'll come back to this at a different time, we've really literally taken all of these things and created a money app for people to actually manage all of this on their phone and really get somewhere with their savings and investments. And, I talk about the secrets of the 1%. It's just, like I said, it's not secret, it's just not talked about. But the money world is a jungle. It's all manipulated, AI'd out, and, the middle section of the country really will not get what they think they will nowadays in the market. Now, when my dad got in the market in 2019 is when he was, no, what am I saying? 1919 is when he was born, okay? So that market that he went into in his youth is way different than it was or is now. And it's a different kind of a market. He did very well in it, but it's not the same thing. So when you're going through that financial jungle, there are all kinds of, poachers out there with guns. They're guns of taxes, fees, commissions, and you don't really know how to read those things unless you have been trained in this. The fees that are built into your investments and things, and the taxes and the admin fees that are being taken out. So some people say, oh, well, I've got $1 million in the bank account, but you really don't. When you think about, when you're planning for the future, you literally will have to pay taxes on it if it's in an IRA or 401k at ordinary income. So there's a lot of things to look at when you're making your plan, and you need someone that's been through the jungle, right? That knows the trail. You want to make sure that those assets are bulletproof from market volatility, taxes and inflation, long-term care, and then the legal protections that you're going to need. A little overwhelming, right? Turn on the TV. You're going to get a different story from a lot of these places, right? We're in a recession. We're not in a recession. No, it's really a depression. No. Everybody's got a different story depending on who the sponsor is or what time of year it is, too. So you have to be your own boss here. You have to take the time to learn about this And I really had a great, I'm a national speaker. I was invited to Washington, D.C., and I had the honor to speak to the Financial Officers Association. Now, these are the guys that are handling the billions and trillions of dollars. And kind of stuffy, really formal and, not as light and as joyful as you would think. But wait, they're handling billions and trillions of dollars. So I was giving this presentation. I had the director next to me. I thought I was going to be cute and make a little joke. And so I said, how many of you are ready for pre-retirement? And about 2% raised their hand. And I looked at him and I go, wait a minute, you're the government. You're supposed to have all this together. And he looked at me like real fierce. No, but he didn't laugh. The audience laughed, but he didn't laugh. He said, we're busy taking care of other people's money. Yeah, that makes sense. And then it hit me. Oh, yeah, we all are. We're busy living life, having babies, taking care of our family, right? It's the same thing. We all get busy, and you know what? It'll never happen to me. I'll never get sick. I would never imagine that I would get ill. I'm just not that kind of person. It happens to everybody else, but oh no, not me. And so this is what has motivated me. He actually gave a really good idea. I'm going to share it with you. He said, we need to have a retirement planning holiday. I said, okay, great. He said, just take 1 or 2 hours out on a Sunday or something or whatever day you want and read about these safe money. Get my #1 best-selling book or read whatever you want about the things that I'm talking about so you get up to date and you're not wasting all your energy working for money that poof can be gone, right? At least you have that much control over what you're doing. Now, this is what I was telling you. I was so excited about this, and I learned about it at 58. Now, I got one at 62. I think it was 62 I got it, because at the time I was in elite health. But they are underwritten, and it's a life insurance, and they do it with whole life or index universal life, but it has what's called an accelerated death benefit. So it lets you use the death benefit while you are alive. How cool is that? And it literally creates creates tax-free income for life. I get so excited about it, right? Where you put in so much over a period of time, that money can come back out to you as tax-free income. And then you get in your third and fourth quarter, you can use 2 to 4%, depending on the company, for catastrophic illness. So if something happened, you needed to get some doctors or therapies, then you could actually contact the insurance company and then they literally give you that money and that comes out tax-free. So then you can administer and manage your own care in your own home. It's very cool. You could actually hire your friends or your kids and keep the money in the estate, right? And it doesn't just drain out and then you get well and keep going on with life. So let me share with you how this works. It's the same for any qualified money, IRAs or 401ks. Okay, now when you draw your qualified money out, IRAs, 401ks, all those things, you're going to owe at ordinary income tax rates. Isn't that great? All these years you think, oh, I'm deferring it. But it's really a big tax bomb. I mean, look, if you have 100,000 and you pay, you really don't if you're paying 30, 40%. And you can add zeros or subtract zeros. It's crazy because you're going to pay that tax. So you really don't have that $1 million or whatever amount you think you have. The solution is the IRA reboot. It allows you to convert your qualified money into a tax-free, no out-of-pocket costs. So check this out. Your IRA is taxable. As I was telling you, your real value is really 20, 40% less than you think, depending on what state you are in. And now, what we're going to do is reboot this million, okay? We're going to take this million and we're going to put it into the life insurance products. We're going to use an IUL right now. index universal life. There's several of them out there. They're custom for the client. I'm not selling one over the other. It really depends on what you want to do. But in this scenario, what happens is over 3 to actually 10 years, you can't take your full qualified money IRA and stick it in here because it becomes taxable. You have to do it under the IRS code book over 3 to 10 years. It depends on your age. So the illustration is set up based on your age and your health. Your health, it's what lowers the cost. So if you get it younger, not only do you get the tax deferral for all those years and the compound interest, but you get a better rate because you have no health issues. But mind you, I got mine in my 60s. You can get it at any age, and I would not wait. Do it while you're thinking about it. Don't procrastinate. So we're going to take a proportionate amount of that IRA or 401k, and we're going to put it into this life insurance. But what? It's taxable, right? Yep. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to pay the taxes with the death benefit. We're going to take the money from the death benefit to pay the taxes. How cool is that, right? So you're not writing any out-of-pocket checks. That is going to be paid by what they call internal loans. Now, these policies are really creative. There's a lot of value to it, but essentially it keeps all the taxes away and will allow you to create that tax-free income for life. The catastrophic illnesses also can be built into it. And as I said, these are customized when we do financial fitness strategies to your age, your health, your wealth, what you want to do. So why not start now, right? And get into the compounding. That's what Warren Buffett said, one of the greatest miracles is compound interest. It's true. If you just let it sit there and not lose principal and not have to pay the taxes, it will pay you for life as you turn income on. It's very cool. So this is what I say to everybody. You want to be safe and never lose a dime in any market risk. So it's going to be age driven. What I do is financial fitness strategies. So I look at the person, what they have, where it is, and do it by their age, their health, their wealth. It isn't trying to sell a product. It's strategies on how they all go together. But mostly, you want to be safe. Insurance can provide a tax advantage. There's a lot of not good ones out there. If you don't have good health, there's what they call equity index annuities. I'm a big fan of that. In fact, I have most of my retirement in there because I didn't learn about the IUL till later. And in that, after I lost money in the stock and I shifted into the safe money, I divided my money in half. And I put half in income and half in growth, right? And then what that did was it created that I could have an income I would never outlive. And so I thought, oh, and I'm 62, 65, 67. But when I got to 62, I was still working. So I deferred it out. And that's the same with Social Security. I don't know if you guys are anywhere near there, but just here's a little tip for the day. If you take Social Security at your full retirement age, that's 100%. If you take it at earlier than your full retirement age, you're going to lose 30%. If you wait till you're in your 70s, whatever age it'll be when you get there, 72 I think it is now, they'll change it again, you will get 30% more Social Security. And by the way, your Social Security, most people's, is a big nest egg. It's going to pay you for life. So if you can have other income streams coming in and defer your Social Security to 72, I think it is, then you're going to get 30% more. It's worth it because it's all about income and guaranteed income in third and fourth quarter of life. So they're really cool. I'll just give you a quick story, and then we'll do answer some questions if you have any. But so I'm going along. I'm a national speaker, and I go out and talk to people, and that's how I get business. And meet people and all that good stuff. And then the pandemic came and couldn't do that anymore. And boop, my brick and mortar business shut down, right? And so what I did was I took money out of my beautiful little annuity that just been sitting there growing and recreated my business into a digital virtual work with everybody all over the country business. And it was very successful during the pandemic because I had that money there. I had access to that money. And there are two kinds. There's an accumulation, and my favorite one is an equity index annuity. So that means inside of the insurance company, they have investments called annuities. These equity index annuities have equity stocks inside of them that the insurance company buys, not me. So they're the ones investing their money, and they're doing 20, 30-year options. They're not doing this week we're throwing a dart at this stock. They're in for the long haul. They're the last to go as a civilization would crumble. Insurance companies are the last to go. And I always joke, I always say it laughingly, I think I'm serious, but I think they're the last to go before Jesus comes, kind of seriously saying that in these days. The money system's going to shift. We're in 40 trillion debt at the time of this recording. What I'm saying is the importance that you be aware of making sure your money's safe and understand that if it all goes to a paperless society, that's where they're trying to push everything. It almost was there the last administration. And so there's a big war going on. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. So you want to be safe. You want to make sure you're going to be ready for those kinds of things. And look, it's a lot easier, again, as I told you, with the experience guide to get through the jungle so that you can create income you never outlive. Because when you are in your third and fourth quarter in the time that you're supposed to have life without work, you'll have life with your family, right? And you'll be able to enjoy all of the blessings that you've worked so hard for. Now, this to give you, and I've, tons of people that I've been blessed to help. But I want to just give you a little recap of why this matters, and then we'll have a little bit of time left if anybody has any questions. I know it's like a lot of information. I try to make it real simple, but the main three things is protection of assets, right? From market risk and taxes, right? Making sure that your income is going to last as long as you are. Income you'll never outlive, making sure that you're not going to be stuck with catastrophic illness bills, long-term care, and all of those kinds of things, and that you're comfortable in knowing that all of your assets are protected in a living trust. And you're protected with your powers of attorney for health care. Look, I'm real strict on my health care, and I want certain things that I don't. So that's really important to me, and I made sure my doctor had it ahead of time, and it works. It's really, really good for you to have that all set up ahead of time before there's any stress. So, as I told you in the beginning, financial fitness strategies, that's my gift. And right there, if you want to hop on my calendar, you'll be able to see all of the there's that calendar, the dates that are open, and you could meet with KrisMiller.com, or that QR code would take you to my calendar. And it only takes about the first one's about 20 minutes, half an hour. I ask you your age, your health, your wealth. Then I go back and research. Then I'll come back again and we'll do a Zoom. And I'll give you a class. And I'll show you what I have, basically, what I've learned. And then I'll send you everything. Guess what? I don't charge for that. I know everybody says I'm crazy, but hey, I've helped a lot of people protect their assets, and I feel pretty good about it, and I've been very blessed. So that's what happens. There's no charge for me to be able to share this with you. Financial fitness strategy session. And remember, right? The old saying, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, right? You want to do these things while the sun is out. That's right. Why everything is calm. This is the time to do it. Put it on your calendar. Take the retirement planning holiday and start thinking about these things because it's not just what you earn, it's what you keep. That's the big deal. And when you realize the taxes and the inflation and the market loss are taking things out of it, you're going to pay some more attention to it. So again, hop on my calendar, see what the financial fitness strategy session looks like for you. And I think we got it right there to allow a few questions here if anybody has some of that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kris. That was amazing.
Thank you, Linda. I I don't think I've ever done one the same. There, it's just it's inspiring to be able to help share these things because this is like the 10,000 mile view of what's really out there and